Alright, Devils, gather round. It's story time. We need to cover exactly why you're going to be Devils from here on out. The term is actually Devil Dog, which started in World War I, but that is reserved for actual United States Marines, and now some of the Marines use it more as a disciplinary term, which is not its intended meaning at all. But that's another story altogether. Instead, we will use Devils, or Devil Pups, or Pups, since a majority of you pups are a bit younger than us old salts. Alright, so let's go all the way back to World War I. Trench warfare was the name of the game back then. Exactly like the gameplay you see in front of you, each side was dug into trenches across from each other, exchanging pot shots, sniper fire, artillery strikes, mustard gas attacks, back and forth, back and forth. They had raids across no man's land, which was the open ground with miles of barbed wire and mazes of landmines, and those raids usually failed miserably, and casualties reached numbers never before seen in history. The living conditions in the dirt and the mud and the freezing rain and the blistering hot sun, they were some of the worst conditions imaginable. And it was, after all, the war to end all wars. In 1918, the Americans finally entered the massive global conflict that had been going on for years, and the Marines were dumped right in the middle of a giant German offensive. They immediately set up their defensive positions to repel the German assault at Belleau Wood, only to be ordered to retreat by a passing French officer. Devils, Captain Lloyd Williams' reply, "Retreat, hell, we just got here," is one of the many quotes that made the Marines the world-renowned fighting force that it is today. Marines then proceeded to repel assault after German assault with pinpoint accuracy from small arms and rifles. The Marines were able to hold off the German assault long enough for Allied forces around them to regroup and muster up a counteroffensive. Then it was the Marines' turn to counterattack. However, the enemy was prepared, and wave after wave of Marines died in the wheat fields of farms and in the forests of Belleau Wood. In those woods, among the dead and dying, heroes were made. Gunnery Sergeant Jansen was the first American and the first Marine to earn the Medal of Honor in World War I in those woods. He, alone, repelled a German counterstrike of 12 soldiers, killing 2 of the soldiers with hand-to-hand combat and bayonets before the rest of the German squad retreated. Gunnery Sergeant Dan Daly, already the winner of 2 Medals of Honor in previous campaigns with the Marine Corps, stood in weathering German automatics weapon fire and rallied his Marines with the cry, "Come on, you sons of bitches, do you want to live forever?" Battle cries like that, Devils, is the reason Marines are feared throughout the world. But this is where the legend started. As the Marines carried out their counterattack, they came across a hill occupied with German forces, heavily entrenched near the top of the hill. With intelligence leaking information stating that a mustard gas attack was imminent, the Marines donned their gas masks as they charged up the steep hill. Stifling hot weather and a difficult climb left the Marines scurrying to the top, many times on all fours. The German forces, looking down from the top of the hill, looking down on the charging Marines from the top of the hill, were terrified of the slobbering, devilish creatures advancing toward them with red, bloodshot eyes. These devil dogs sent a chill down their spines, and the term stuck with Marines throughout the rest of the war. With incredible losses on all sides and the exhausted state of the Marines who captured the woods, even the messengers were fatigued. Their message was pretty simple upon the conclusion of the campaign: Woods now, U.S. Marine Corps entirely. Many more Marines died in the Battle of Belleau Wood, and many more honors were given. The French renamed the forest of Belleau Wood to Wood of the Marine Brigade. Army General Pershing went on to say that the deadliest weapon in the world is a Marine and his rifle. Devil Dog, however, is the term that everyone associates with the Battle of Belleau Wood, and it's a term that only the few and the proud have rightfully earned. You pups, however, have shown an interest by being part of this series with me, and can always consider yourself Devils as long as you continue to show that interest. I hope you'll help me out on Respawn Army again. There's a link to the video in the description if you have any questions about that. I would really appreciate it if you left the video a rating too. Again, it's teamwork, Devils. I'm not here without you. Until next time, stay motivated.